Alright, John Oakes here with Hankster's Hot Rods here in our Homer City, Pennsylvania location, and today we're going to go over this new addition to our inventory, a 1966 Ford Mustang GT style car here. So as we go around, we'll point out to you all those styling cues to make it look like the GT here, obviously. So as far as what we're looking at here, you can see it's done here in the white exterior. The paint on this car is actually pretty decent. Again, I'm going to say that most of the paint and probably all your panels and bright work and trim and so forth are probably the original stuff for this car, with a few add-ons to make it like a GT. So obviously you're going to see the 289 emblems on the front side of the fenders there on both sides. You're also going to see those GT badges too on the back side of the fenders on both sides as well. As far as striping and differences in colors, you can see it does have the kind of the black lower body stripe like a GT would have. It does have the black vinyl top on it too. Now the vinyl top, a lot of people always want to know, what kind of shape is it, and what's the condition of the roof underneath. So obviously our vinyl top is in really good shape here. There's no rips or tears. Looks really good. Even the stitching right up along the center of it, that all looks very good too. Our drip rail moldings, those are nice and straight too. And the rain gutters here, I always will feel through those to make sure that those are nice and smooth. They are on this car. And even down along the bottom here, right next to your trim, I always feel there to make sure that that's smooth and that there's no bumps or anything underneath there. And again, nice and smooth all the way around underneath that vinyl top. Now, as far as the windows go in the car, the windows are in great shape. You can see they are slightly tinted. There's no chips or cracks on any of the windows. All of your moldings around the windows are actually in really good shape too. Those are nice. We've got both sides here, driver's side and passenger side, chrome mirrors. Glass in those mirrors are in great condition too. Now, as far as your panel fitment, you can see your gaps there at the front of the door as well as on the back. Again, these are really nice tight gaps the whole way around. And your elevations are dead on, and you can see that all of your body lines all match up really well on this car. So panel fitment and alignment is really good in this vehicle. We are going to go ahead and open up our door and take a look at the interior inside. Now you'll notice it's got the white, I believe they call this like the white pony interior. It's got like the embroidery and so forth on the backs of the seats. It's the low back seat covers. It's got the factory seat belts in it, black carpeting. All the rest, like I said, is white except for your dash pad there. It's done in black. You do have the wood grain trim, factory AC unit installed, and factory automatic center console with the floor shifter there. Now you also do have the factory Mustang steering wheel there, along with factory heater controls too. Now all the instruments in the dash, those are all working as well on this car. So again, all in all, pretty well shaped. Like I said, the interior is probably original to this car too, but you'll see it's in pretty good condition as we walk around. All of your weather stripping and seals around all your door glass and on your quarter windows, all of that is in good condition too. Now, as far as down here on the quarter panel, we do have the inserts down here, the bright work, those are in good shape. The GT badging up here on the sail panels as well. We'll walk back now to the rear of the car, and that's where we'll go over your trunk lid and the tail panel and so forth. So the trunk lid, you'll notice your gaps all the way around. Again, pretty uniform there. You'll see that it does have the luggage rack on the trunk, and the rear glass here is in great shape too. Again, no chips or cracks in any of the glass. And you can see your bright work, the molding around the window. That's in good shape too. And you can also see the condition of that vinyl top at the back side here as well. Now, as far as down here at our tail panel, your lights, your tail lights here, the lenses and the bezels are in really good shape. There's no chips or cracks in the lenses and the bezels. The bright work around there, it's actually really nice on these tail lights here. As far as your rear bumper, chrome rear bumper, it looks good. And then down below that, you'll see, along with your backup lights, you do have the exhaust that pokes through that rear lower valance. And again, those are those bell type exhaust tips. It does have the GT gas cap here as well. There we go. So it's one of the little round keys. As you can see, the trunk lock works. Your hinges and spring work too, as they're holding everything up on their own. The underside of the trunk painted the same white as the exterior of the car. You also have your trunk seal and weather strip here. That's in really good shape. Nice and soft the whole way around. Meets right in the middle back here. Again, sealing up from the outside elements should not be an issue with this car. It looks really good underneath here. Obviously down inside you've got a trunk mat along with the spare tire in here. You also have a set of Mustang floor mats here that you can utilize. Now as far as the trunk floor itself, you'll hear me in the underside video mention this, but on these Mustangs, your fuel tank actually mounts in from the top side here, and that makes up a majority of your trunk floor. The tank on this thing is in really great shape, so again, the majority of your trunk floor is going to be the same way. The rest of it, all solid, no patches whatsoever, so that all looks good. So let's close this up. Let's work our way around the passenger side now. Again, all your panels are nice and straight. Again, as I said before on the other side, nice and smooth under the vinyl top here all the way around. No bumps or anything to go over there. Again, your trim and moldings here in great shape. The glass on the passenger side, same thing, in good condition. No chips or cracks whatsoever. And your molding around the window in good shape. As far as your door now on the passenger side, you can see your gaps on there. Again, pretty uniform front to back. Elevations are great. Body lines all match up just like they did on the other side. Let's go ahead and open this door up and just take a look at the interior now from the passenger side. Again, for what I believe would be probably the original interior and upholstery for this car, it is in really good shape for being in the original stuff. Again, your carpeting, you can see there's no real rips or tears in any of that. Again, you just get another view of the dash and your center console and all of that stuff. And like we mentioned before, all seat belts are present. Again, all the weather stripping and seals on this side are in great shape too. Now as we come forward, we've already mentioned those GT badges and the 289 badges. Let's talk real quick about the wheels and tires. These are 14x6 wheels, and they are steel wheels. This is not a hubcap on these wheels. So it is your chrome steel actual rally wheel, along with trim rings and center caps, with a set of Goodyear Regatta white line tires here, and those are 195/75 R14s on all four corners. Now as we get to the front of the vehicle, now here's where you see some more of that GT styling here with this grille and your driving lights down here, the GT style lights. Again, that just kind of gives it that little extra flair that the GTs had. As far as the hood goes, this is your stock steel hood. Back here at the cowl, they got this nifty little cowl cover on it here, so you don't get a bunch of moisture and debris down in there. So that's kind of a nice feature. As far as your windshield goes, no chips or cracks there. You can see it's tinted and then gradually dissipates as it comes down the windshield. And all your trim work around there is in great shape too. Your gaps all the way around your hood, again in great condition. Chrome front bumper, same thing, nice chrome, no pitting to really go over there. It's nice and smooth all the way around. And of course your lenses in your marker lights, those are all in great shape. Headlights, those are just your traditional sealed beam unit, just glass lenses, no chips or cracks there. Now let's go underneath the hood and we'll discuss what we've got here. So of course the underside of the hood, it's all done in the same white as the exterior of the car. Inside the hood, as far as your engine compartment, it's all blacked out, obviously, as you can see here. Now for motor, this is a 302 cubic inch small block Ford motor. To kind of finish out the drive line on it, we've got this backed up by a C5 automatic transmission, and then also an 8-inch Ford rear end with a 323 POSI gear in the rear of the car. As far as things that you can see clearly here, obviously we've got the Edelbrock finned aluminum air cleaner up here. You've got the Edelbrock finned valve covers here also with the breathers. An Edelbrock 1406 carburetor underneath all of that with an Edelbrock Performer RPM polished aluminum intake there as well. The ignition system, that's been upgraded as well. We've got a, I believe, a billet distributor there, and I think it was an Accel, yes, an Accel super stack coil there. So that's going to help give you a lot more, a little hotter spark. Of course, the plug wires, they've probably been upgraded to a 7mm plug wire there. Factory air conditioning on this car, and you see that right here. It's all hooked up, belts are run, all the lines are run, it is all functional. As far as the steering goes, it is a manual steering car, power brake car, so you'll see the booster right back here. It is disc brakes up front, drums on the rear of the car there. Then we have the factory style radiator here, along with an electric fan, and that's a nice touch because, again, the electric fan, a lot more efficient, and it does take the fan away from the front of the motor, which cuts down on some of your drag on the motor there. That's pretty much it for the motor. We've already discussed the rest of the drive line. We've been through the outside now of the car and inside. So what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and get this on our lift, show you the complete underside of the car, and then finally we'll go ahead and fire that 302 up. That way you get to hear what it sounds like. Alright, so we are underneath our 66 Mustang Coupe here now. We're going to do just as we do with all of our vehicles. We're going to go over the underside of this car with you, front to back, telling you about steering, suspension, braking, frame, floors, and the entire drive line on the car. So we'll start up front, obviously, going over the suspension. So on this car here, you're going to have basically your typical front suspension, all stock stuff here. Upper and lower control arms, those are all stock. Ball joints and all of those are all in good shape, and you can tell everything's been maintained very well underneath here. To finish out your suspension, it is the strut rod style suspension, so again, just typical stuff you would find on one of these Mustangs. And then it does have the sway bar up front to help with cornering. So your sway bar bushings at the frame and at your sway bar end lengths, those are all in really good condition on this car. Far as the crossmember itself, it's got this small tubular crossmember in here. Again, it clears the oil pan very nicely underneath here. And then as far as the steering goes, all of your tie rods, all the ball joints are all in good shape, and they all have the little rubber dust boot covers on those as well. As far as braking on this car, we'll start up front here. We've got disc brakes on the front. We've got drum brakes out on the rear of the car. Again, your disc brakes, those are going to be typical components that you can buy replacements for at any auto parts store. Again, they're just stock components. And the same thing with your drum brakes on the rear. As far as the drive line, since we're standing right underneath the motor and transmission here, the motor itself, this is, I believe, after decoding everything, it is a 72-302 cubic inch small block Ford. Right behind that, we have a C5 automatic transmission. Now on this transmission, the pan and the pan on the motor, as I look around those, these look free from any leaks or drips. So I'm not seeing anything there. Our bell housing on the front of the transmission here, it does have the flywheel cover on it, so you're not going to get any dirt or debris in there to possibly chip or crack a tooth off of that. As far as the transmission cross member, it's right here. Again, it's in good shape. The mount for the tail shaft is in good shape too. And the transmission back at the rear seal here, that looks dry also, where your slip yoke goes in from your drive shaft. Of course, our drive shaft is a balanced unit. And then to finish out the drive line back here for the rear end, this is a Ford 8-inch rear 323 gear, and it is a POSI unit inside that third member. Now for rear suspension, since we're back here and we've already gone over the front, we do have a set of air shocks. Now these are nice because, again, you can simply raise or lower the rear ride height of the car by putting a air hose on that. There's a Schrader valve that goes on, and you can, like I said, easily adjust that. In combination with the air shocks, we do have a set of multi-leaf rear springs here. As far as frame and floors go now on the car, frame and floors are actually look really good on the car. Nice and solid floors here too. The frame's nice and straight here. The floors, I don't see any little patching going on here in the floor pans. All of your little rubber rain plugs or drain plugs, those are all intact underneath here, as you can see. The emergency brake, all of that stuff has been run here also. So all of your hookups here, your cables, your intermediates, and then your rear brake cables going down to those rear drum brakes on both sides, all present, all functioning. Pinch welds on the car, again, nice and straight all the way down both sides. Rockers are nice and straight, good and solid too underneath the car here also. Brake lines and fuel lines all run up along here, up in through the center tunnel here, and back to the rear of the car for your rear brakes. Of course, the fuel line comes back here to your fuel tank. So that's where we come next. Fuel tank. This looks to be almost brand new. The fuel tank's in great condition. All your mounting hardware looks to be good. It's got a little drain petcock on the bottom if you'd ever need to do anything with it. And as far as the rest of the floor back here for like your trunk floor, well, there's not really a whole lot to go over, because again, with the Mustangs, your fuel tank mounts in from the top side of the trunk and sits down in, and that makes up a majority of your trunk floor. So again, all of that's going to be in really good shape, again, based off the fact that the fuel tank's in good shape. And exhaust, that's going to be the next thing, and one of the last things that we go over here. We've got the long tube ceramic coat headers. We've got the dual exhaust all the way back, a set of dual V-force mufflers, probably like a turbo style muffler on this car. And then we've got the tailpipes that go up over top of the rear housing, and then those exit out through the rear lower valance on the car with a set of like bell type exhaust tips back there. That is pretty much it for the underside. The only thing left to go over is going to be wheels and tires. Now on this car, they've got 14x6. These are steel wheels. Now they're the chrome, like the rally style wheel. They do have the beauty rings and centers on them. But again, these are the chrome steel rally style wheel, not a steel wheel with a hubcap on it. They're a full-blown steel wheel chrome. And then of course for the tires, Goodyear Regatta tires on this. They're kind of like a white wall or a white line tire that's on there. Again, the size is going to be a 195/75 R14 on all four corners of the car, and the tread's in really good condition on these tires. So that is it for the underside of our Mustang here. We're going to go ahead, lower this down as we always do, go underneath the hood, and fire this motor up. That way you'll get to hear what that 302 sounds like before you actually would have any questions whatsoever about it. So we're going to do that next. We'll see you there.